Hello, my name is Terry Sacka, Chief Strategist at Cornerstone, and you are watching The Wealth Transfer, where global economics, biblical principles, and protecting and preserving your family's wealth is paramount to the kingdom survival. We're going to continue this program this week on the Eurasian impact to the West, how it's going to impact our future ability to buy in our retirement, and how our ability to support the churches. And I'm along with Dr. Charles Vance, pastor and speaker and author. Hello, Charles.
Hey, Terry.
Welcome.
Thank you. Great to have you along this week.
Is that better?
Yeah. Hey, you're good, man. Oh, I dropped that.
That's Hebrews
4:12.
I know it by heart. You want to do it?
Yeah, do it. You do it. Go ahead. I'll help you.
The Word of God is all powerful, and that's dunamis power, by the way.
Quick and powerful, the King James says.
Quick.
It means alive and active.
It's the dunamis, man. It's the
Yep.
power that raised Christ from the dead. So the Word of
Same
God is
thing.
all powerful. Sharper than any two-edged sword.
Cool.
Because a two-edged sword, no matter what direction it goes, slices and dices. Because the Word of God is all powerful, sharper than a two-edged sword, because it is a discerner of the thoughts and intention of the heart. Actually, it divides the soul and the spirit.
Yeah. He said it was so much so, the
love
soul
that
and the
part.
spirit is so close. He said it's like cutting marrow from a bone.
Yeah.
Pretty neat, isn't it?
What's neat about that
Word
is
of
because
God.
our spirit is here, but our soul's where the devil attacks us.
Mind, will, intellect, emotion,
Yes.
reasoning, your
And
soulish
so
area.
our spirit can be with God, but yet we wonder why so many Christians fail, fall, and completely destroy your hope and faith, because the devil can get in the soul. Now, why is this important? Because it's the Word of God is a discerner of the thought and intention of
Absolutely.
the heart. So we want to speak to that heart this day, and we want everyone to speak to the heart of everyone in their inner circle, and let's get some truth going.
You know, Paul said that we need to cast down imaginations, every high thing that will exalt itself against the knowledge of God. We really need to look at everything that we look at with the mind of God. We need to focus on God's perspective of things. We need to look at it like He would look at it. I've heard people say, as I was growing up, we shouldn't get involved in economic things or political things. Quite the contrary. The Bible says in Revelation chapter 1 and 6 that Christ Himself has made us, talking about us, kings and priests unto God. A king is someone who manages material things. A priest is someone who manages supernatural or spiritual things. So we're supposed to be a twofold being that's managing both sides of this thing very well.
Yeah.
That's what this wealth transfer is really all about.
Right, and we've been talking about the Eurasian area and why it's so important, because it's really just about the BRICS. It's about Russia, it's about China, it's about India, it's about Iran now coming into this play now that we're releasing them. And what it's really doing to, I'm thinking the very near future. We're near a Shemitah here. Now, we don't know if it's going to play it out.
Real quick, tell
the
people
Shemitah is that
what
7-year cycle of debt forgiveness in the ancient prophecy Isaiah 9, where you're supposed to let the land rest, let the poor come in and feed on the land.
Like a Sabbath.
It's like a Sabbath, but God gave you so much provision through the 6 years that you were in Him, He blessed you. And then, of course, you forgave the debts, and then what happens is you would be blessed to go into the next cycle. Ironically, not ironically, it's probably very pertinent, is this 7-year cycle has been playing out all the way back to the Great Depression, even in our country. And there are plenty of people to say that America was really supposed to be established as a form of New Jerusalem, and you had the esoterics coming over with Francis Bacon to do one thing, but then you had God sending the Puritans over to do another, and here we are today. But what we do know is the Shemitah cycle is coming September 13th. Just so happens a couple of days later, Jade Helm. We also have in the United Nations, they're pushing for a vote.
Jade Helm.
Jade Helm is this military exercise on U.S. soil, which is a mind blower.
It's already been taking place, hasn't it?
It's going on, already been going on, and it's going to continue. And the thing is, they should never be allowed to do this. It's really about managing martial law is what it is. Let's just call it what it is. And then you have in the United Nations, they're going to be pushing for a vote to force Israel to the 67 borders. Then we have the 4 blood moons on the 25th. And then in October, China is looking to be a reserve currency for the IMF basket.
A lot of stuff getting ready to take place.
A lot of stuff getting ready. And all I'm here to say, Charles, I tell you, we're close enough.
Now,
we don't know if it's an exact date thing.
Can we
but
do this?
just-
Yeah. Can we do this? We're not prophesying.
No.
That's not what we're here
telling
doing.
you the events that are
Just
taking
telling you stuff that has taken place
And
and some
coming.
stuff that's getting ready to come.
Yes.
in timetables,
Yes.
in God's timetables.
Yep.
We can watch it, see what happens. Smart people will be prepared.
That's kind of what I'm taking, is this time around, the 9/11 in 2008, Shemitah, was so tight. 2008 was the largest market crash in U.S. history. Now, I don't know if it's going to be on the exact date. All I know is the data says something is so bad, something's coming anyway.
No doubt.
And it's not even about preparing your finances. I'm serious enough to say, are you prepared with food? Are you prepared with water? If we have massive social unrest, you're going to be kind of hungry, aren't you?
Doesn't FEMA even tell us to do that?
Oh, of course they do.
They tell us to do that.
Absolutely. The government wants you to have emergency food. It's just really a personal issue how much.
Sure.
But I think everyone, you better have an emergency food supply. 25-year shelf life type would be great because it stays over time. And all you need is water to activate it. And so I would highly recommend having some form of a water filtration system, because you could take water out of a river or a dirty pond. I don't know how bad things are going to get. But in this world, if it's really bad out there, you don't want to have to go out. If you have enough food and water to kind of sit back for a couple months, few months, that's probably a good idea. My guess is anyone that's going to be taken off into some government-controlled camp, if it hits really bad, is because they can't take care of themselves. And so I would definitely recommend taking it seriously and making sure you have proper food provisions, water provisions to sit it out and ride it out, and get those assets appropriately diversified into God's money away from this system. Because we've talked about this before, the crashes in 9/11 and 2008. You know, since 2008, we have printed trillions and trillions of fake these. And here's the kick. We're getting ready to see a reckoning of it. Now, what happened during that time? There's something called a swap line. And this is all part of the Eurasia. Why the Eurasian region is rising in power is because we are so debt intensive and burdened. The West is crumbling under it. Greece, Portugal, and so are we. We're just printing more and faking it. But what happened after 2008? We in the Federal Reserve printed so many trillions of these. We then swapped it for currencies of other countries. We said, listen, print about $1 trillion of your money. We'll give you $1 trillion and you can go out and spend it. They're trying to make it look like it's legitimate. These are known as swap lines. This is the secret underneath that nobody really talks about. But look at this image here, number 9. It's going to give you a visual example. This is current 2015. Look at that swap line. That's a map of the world. And if you noticed, from the center of the United States over to, oh yeah, Belgium. That big dark green line, that's where all the swaps took place. It was then this draws on China swap lines and apparently to sell the renminbi to the dollar.
Well, this might be trivial. A question: why Belgium? Why is it all stopping there? Why
Europe. That's where the EU is. Now, if you notice, it's coming from China, because the Chinese are involved in this too. They're involved too. They're setting us up. My take. But if you notice on the right, the green line is lighter, but it goes from China across the sea to us, then us heavily to Europe. The world, you could take that off, the world supported itself. China's involved too. What I love about the Chinese, not much considering they're communist and disgusting, but beyond that, they're actually really smart. They play both sides of the fence. So at one point, they're very supportive, and they're playing right along with us, but the other side, they're building up this whole Eurasian empire that's getting ready to take the dollar down.
Now, China,
we just think we're smarter than them, and we're going to overdo it, and I don't know about this time.
The statistics showing that China is stocking up gold.
Oh, the Chinese are heavy in gold and silver, and you don't know what's true. All I do know is the Chinese government actually has told their people to own gold and silver. Do you know, we won't do that, of course, because it would make the dollar seem not very good. They don't want you, America, to realize that in 1960s, it was in 71 that actually came off. In the 60s, this actually was a silver certificate. Actually, this actually says it.
You could trade that for this.
You could trade it for 1 ounce. They were equal.
And you could do it at the bank. The bank was required to do it.
That's right. The real U.S. dollar constitutionally was silver. Silver. Now, since then, though, in the last 40 years or so, they've faked and tricked our mindset into materialistic ways by distraction to think this means something. This is now a Federal Reserve note. It's a debt slave instrument, by the way. Real American U.S. dollars by the Constitution, right here, always was. This is constitutional, mind you. This is always our money. And so the thing is, those, since they took this out of the paper, those who stayed in silver as their storage of wealth since the 70s, just $100,000 stored since the 70s is worth $1.7 million. What are you doing right now for your retirement, your protection and preservation of your assets you worked hard for? I'm here to say if you would have been storing your retirement in this all along, you would be significantly wealthier today. Even just 10 years ago, $100,000 is worth $300,000 right now as we speak. The fact is, this is real money. And you're in the stock and bond market in this. It's time to rethink quickly, not to meet the date, mind you. That's just probably an event. That's going to trigger something to begin. And then watch over the next year or so how this plays out. That's when this is going to really run. You just need to start the process now of getting protected. Get educated first, and here's some ways to get started.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Now, just a real quick cap before I get into the fact that this is a real currency war. Currency war meaning other countries printing money to us printing money to try to beat each other down so we get more trade. But here's where a quick history of the dollar has gone. Don't think this hasn't happened before. 40 years we've been in this Federal Reserve note dominance. Note, think about it, a note is a loan paperwork. It's a debt. It's an IOU. It's a slave instrument. A U.S. dollar was not. We started out, this $20 bill right here is a gold certificate $20 bill. It just so happened to be traded for a $20 gold piece. This was legitimate one-to-one in the gold world. Gold. It was it. It was money. Then we kind of messed up, went into the Great Depression, blew up, went bankrupt, went through all this stuff without getting in details, and the $20 bill went to a $50 bill gold piece. Trade in the $50 bill, get the same gold coin. So 1 ounce gold coin to start out was a $20 bill. Then it went to a $50 bill. Now, I don't think many are going to catch this. You just lost half of your buying power. You used to buy, one gold coin used to buy you $20 worth. Now it only gets you $50 worth. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. It takes more dollars to buy the same thing. Now a lot more, meaning the dollars are worth less. Now, here's the worst part. That gold coin now, the same 1 ounce gold coin, will get you 1,000 of these. So it's kind of hard to grab, but in essence, the gold and the silver always was a storage of value and real money.
Terry, I think people, and I feel like I interrupt and do this too much in this program over the several years, but I don't think people know what the banking system is. People think that the government prints this money, and funny thing is, they actually do. They are contracted by the Federal Reserve Bank, which has nothing to do with the government whatsoever.
I know.
It's a bunch of very, very wealthy people, world people, not just Americans. Actually, more than half of the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Bank are people that are not American citizens. They contract the American government to print this, to even have more deception that this is an American currency issued by the American government, but it is not.
But it used to be, when they printed these, they used to buy you gold and silver.
Right, because the law was you can't put this bank in place unless you keep gold and silver in the bank to exchange it for a simple note that says, I've got a note that says I'm holding gold
Yes.
in your bank or
Yes.
silver in your bank.
Yes. Now, they're trying to say that that's outdated and archaic and we're not there anymore. That's just not history. Going back to 600 BC, that's just not true. They're just trying to dominate from the banking sector point of view fractionally, like you're talking about. You put $1 in the bank, they loan out 20. You go get this money in an emergency, you're not getting it.
It's not there.
It's not.
The currency is
we
not
have
even there.
people right now.
Because it's all done.
I know, and it's already tied up. We have
Right.
people right now trying to transfer IRAs out of where they're at to silver IRAs. They want to be where, God's money per se. And you would be stunned at how much effort these companies, brokerages, annuities, whatever, how much effort they go through to keep the people from getting their money.
If the bank,
I'm telling you, hard. We've had months and months of effort to get certain money transferred.
if I put $1 in, I don't have one of the dollars. You got a dollar. If I put this in the bank, they can loan 20 of these. The average bank
Yes.
can. Some
Right.
more, some less,
Right.
depending on how big the bank is. Some of them as many as 60 of these.
Yes.
On paper, because they
Right.
don't have the dollar. I
Right.
just put $1 in. But they can loan up to 60 of these. Think about that when you start multiplying that like $1,000. They can loan $60,000.
That is why this is an issue. Because
Sure.
they have, let's say it's an annuity that you have your money in, you want to roll it into silver. They probably took in, let's say, $1 billion, but they're investing $20 billion in the market in this fractional banking. Problem, if everybody wants their money, you're not getting it.
You
We're
can't.
seeing it already. And here's the bigger problem.
And the laws are in place that you can't come and get it all.
Yes, and that's the bigger problem is you're a unsecured creditor. So when you go to the bank, you're third in line for a repayment. The law says it. Derivative holders get paid back first, secured creditors, and then you. The money you have in the bank isn't yours. You were giving the bank a loan. It's so important because we're in currency war right now. And when we start seeing the dollar value collapse, which I think is coming real soon, the money you think you have in the bank isn't yours. They're not giving it to you. So you need some money in the bank, but you better watch out having too much.
No question these guys are brilliant.
Oh, well, that's a no-brainer. Look at
Brilliant.
what we fooled the whole population.
You can't do it. I can't write $60 for every dollar I put in the bank in checks.
Us by a gun to our head. I'm sorry for the graphic, but it's true. You don't do it, you go to jail. This, that. So the point is, that's typical of all kingdoms throughout history.
Legal tender laws make you take this. If I offer this to you for a debt, I could actually prosecute you through the government because you wouldn't take my currency for a debt.
And see, the currency war is so severe right now. They're trying to make you think holding cash is bad. And it's really only because, and they say it's to fight crime. That's so bull. Yeah, some of it. But it's really because they want to control your ability to take it out and keep it out of their hands from stealing it. Because remember, a bail-in is theft by the government and theft by the banking system. Because we're in a currency war with the East. This Eurasian stuff is serious. And if we're not protected out of the system with your hard-earned assets, you're going to be severely compromised when this hits. Just look at Greece. Go to image 10, just for some little fun parody here. Yeah, that's what, comically, but that's what's going on. We're throwing our dollars over, or they're throwing paper money to us, and we're throwing our gold. Ridiculous. Go ahead and take that off. That's really, and that was China, by the way. Well, because what's happening is we're trying to say gold and silver are ridiculous and it's silly, it's outdated. Not the Chinese, not the Russians, not the Eurasian group people. Muammar Gaddafi, Iran. You know Iran was selling oil even in sanctions to Turkey for gold? So the rest of the world still takes gold and silver very seriously. We don't because we're trying to win the narrative that this paper dollar is real. It's not. All through history, it always was this. But we're being tricked right now. If we don't get positioned in quickly during this Jubilee year that's coming ahead and some other things happening, getting ready to come down, this Eurasian rise of cooperation is going to wreak havoc on churches, ministries, your retirement, your 401k IRAs, if you're in the system of stocks, bonds, and paper. Get properly protected. The beautiful thing about being in God's money is you can do it privately. And even in your IRAs, it goes in a vault out of the system. So if there's any form of a collapse, it's physical. And if you take it home, all you have to do is trade it in or sell it to somebody for paper, and you can buy something. But the odds are, at the price this is today, it's worth a lot more money in the future. Get educated and understand why the dollar is getting ready to go down and how best you can get diversified. And here's a good way to start.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
It's not just protecting your retirement assets, mind you. I really, really encourage everyone, being from North Carolina and Florida, where we have a lot of hurricanes, you better have emergency food and water stash too. And personal for everyone, but I'd have at least a few months. That's personal. Some people have more. Because if it gets really bad social unrest, you're not going to the store. You're not going to want to anyway, so keep that in mind. But
and I want to throw this in real softly. People need personal protection.
Yeah. Let's just say a pitchfork's not going to get it done nowadays. I want to get into some core American data as to why, I'm telling you, the Eurasian, we were talking about Eurasia, why they're rising. It's not just because we're spying on them, pushing them around, stealing their money, and going to wars and starting all this stuff. They're tired of that. But it's because they recognize we're in serious trouble. We have printed trillions of dollars. We have debt obligations to baby boomers in the tens of trillions. We have welfare to the tune of $1 trillion a year. We're in serious trouble. China has sold more of their U.S. Treasury holding bonds than at any time in decades. They're dumping it, and you're not hearing about it, but they're dumping away from U.S. debt. Now, take a look at this, and this is going to be the raw data now. I'm going to show you images you cannot debate that will give you real straight view of U.S. data, and we'll continue next week. But they're telling you everything's okay out there. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on. Let's go to image 11. This is the U.S. total market debt. That's how much it's rising. That's a financialization of the U.S. economy. Total credit market debt. It is exploding over all these years. Do you think it's going to continue? If you notice those bubbles or those peaks that go down and down, those just happen to be Shemitah years, by the way, but that's another story. And we're higher now, and the Shemitah year is approaching. You can take that off, and let's go to the next image, number 12. This is known as U.S. Macro Surprise Index. All I really want to say is, if you notice, the blue line is a trend, but the red on the far right, it's at the lowest point. If you notice, take it all the way across to the red in the middle. That is 2008, the last Shemitah year. And now we're 7-year cycling, and look, it's right there again. And that right there is foretelling something, but let's continue. Let's go to image 13. This is retail sales. I'm sorry, but this is retail sales. They're trying to tell you everything's okay. Well, those red shades in the middle and the left are the major recessions. Oh, by the way, 9/11 and 2008 Shemitah years. Obviously, the middle one and the major red down is the 2008 Shemitah because it was the largest market crash in U.S. history. If you've noticed on the right, yes, ever since we finally have crossed over, we're starting down. That's a red line on the right side. We're starting back down again, and we haven't had the event yet. So take that off, and let's go to 14 and end it up here. This is wholesale sales. Wholesale sales. Yes, the red shades just happen to be the Shemitah years. Look at 2008. Look at where we are on the right. Yes, again, we are going back into the same area as 9/11 and 2008 Shemitah year on wholesale sales. If everything is so good, why is this screaming? We're going right back in. You can take that off. We are going right back into the same territory as 9/11 and 2008. A little 29 Shemitah years just so happens to be. We're verging on a Shemitah year here in the next week. Here we go. And the indicators are saying something's coming. Are you prepared? Get it? Get Jesus Christ in the center of your heart. God bless you, and we'll continue next week.
I'd like for you to share the word about the wealth transfer. We're on this station every week at this same time. Tell your friends, family, co-workers, and so forth. Also, you can watch these programs on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on your personal computer, your tablet, or your smartphone by going to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. That's our website. Pull the programs up there by the dates that they originally aired and by the topics as well. My name is Charles Vance for Terry Sacka. We'll see you next week right here on the Wealth Transfer.
Stone Asset Metals has focused on using gold and silver reserves to protect your assets from volatile currencies. Another hard asset that is just as important for your sustainability is food. We believe that preparation is a key to being successful in an unstable economic environment, so we started Cam Ready Food just for you. The Bible tells us that Joseph used the resources of Egypt to prepare for a global famine by storing up food in a time of plenty. His preparation not only preserved the lives of his family, but many others as well. At Cornerstone, we believe the time is now to re-examine this biblical lesson so that you and your family can be prepared for any disaster, job loss, food shortage, or economic instability. You can start preparing today by visiting our website, camreadyfood.com, because food truly is the ultimate currency. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.